Hi everybody and welcome to 3-Minute Racquet Reviews. Today's review is the Wilson Pro Staff BLX 6195. In terms of the ground strokes, I'd give this a 7.5 out of 10. I think it's on the lower end in terms of power for 6195 frame, but it really does provide a great plush response and allows you to get a fair degree of spin with both string pattern types. In regards to the net play, I'd give this an 8 out of 10. I think these Wilson 6195s came in sort of lighter swing weights, so that being the case, out of the box they are very maneuverable and there's a fair degree of plow even though the swing weights are relatively light. This is definitely one of the more whippy and maneuverable 6195s that you can get out of the box. Moving on to the serving, I'd give this a 7 out of 10. I think the lower powered response limits it from being great on flat serves, and the relatively low access to spin does prohibit it from being a great serve frame for the kick serve. But regardless, I think it's a fairly good frame in terms of directional control and feel, which allows you to go for your serves and pick smaller targets. Moving on to the power, like I mentioned in the serving category, I think this is a lower powered response. I'd give it a 6 out of 10 relative to most frames on the market. In terms of control, I'd give this something like an 8.5 out of 10. I think that more flexible, whippy feeling nature allows the ball to sink into the string bed and sort of snap back out. In terms of spin, I'd give this a 7 out of 10. I think relative to most frames on the market, it's going to be a little bit below average, but that 16 by 18 pattern does provide a fair amount of spin potential and comes out in sort of a low to middle launch angle. In terms of the stability, I'd give this an 8.5 out of 10. I think these 6195 frames are really stable in general, and this one's no exception. The hoop is stable all throughout, and you will find that the power tends to drop off towards the upper end of the sweet spot, but it doesn't lose that stable sensation. For me, it's super easy to use someone else's pace and redirect a shot back with a chip. Moving on to the comfort, I'd give this a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's one of the most comfortable tennis rackets that I've ever used. This BLX layup was a big improvement from the K factor in that regard. It did change the power dynamic where it feels like there is considerably less power, but with that comes a way more comfortable response. So anyone that's able to generate power on their own can rest assured that this is one of the more comfortable pro staff options that they've made, if that's a consideration that they care about. Onto the flex profile, I'd give this one a lower yoke flex. More of a lower yoke flex than any 6195 that I've used. It really does have a pronounced feeling of, flexing right at the top of the handle. In terms of touch, I'd give this a 9 out of 10. I think this layup and string pattern combination allows for a really clear idea of where the ball sits in the string bed, and that feeling is super nice on various shots. Ground strokes, volleys, serves, you really can sense where that ball is sitting within the string bed. Onto our Will It Lead category, I think this is tough to recommend because of the low-powered response. Most people in 2025 are looking for something that provides more free power, more forgiveness. So for those reasons, I think it's a pass in that regard. Lastly, onto the cosmetics, I think this is an 8 out of 10. Really nice classic pro staff colors with the red, black, gold, white. But in general, I think it is a little noisy. Specifically, those candy cane stripes on both sides could have been removed, and that would have made this a much more timeless design. Thanks everybody for tuning into this racket review. We'll see you in the next one.